Hey guys, T-Bull here. Today I got a look at the map Fault Line. I got to tear it on the screen just so you can see the build, because both these games are in Lightnings. This video is not really about the Lightning, it's mostly about Fault Line. We'll talk a little bit about the game, maybe a little bit more about the second game in particular. But first things first, I want you to notice the spawns here on the north. I got a north spawn game and a south spawn game. North spawn, the east spawn, and the north spawn are pretty dang close together. Essentially, they form a unit of 6 right off the bat. Then you have a far western spawn. The far western spawn's matched up against another 3 directly to their south on the south spawn side. So that's an even fight to start with. Usually the south center spawn goes west to join that flank. I don't know why. It's strategically an unimportant flank, but it's what people do in about 80-90% of the games. And if that happens, which it usually does, the north spawn should win. We are immediately in a 6-on-3 here. And you'll see as that red center spawn begins to pop up on the map, how far they have to go. They have to go around those vertical islands towards the west to get on the western flank. So we're in a 6-on-3 right now, as soon as we spot these 3 ships over here. To create a 6-on-3 on the west, it takes about 3, 4, 5 minutes for those center spawn ships to get over there. And, you know, that's 20% of the game or higher. And 20% of the early game, which is, you know, where you can establish an advantage pretty early on. So the north intrinsically has an advantage on this map. And this is all capture the base mode, by the way, that I'm talking about. Domination mode game, you spawn by objective. Some of you turn around and run away from that objective. I think that contributes to you losing the game. I don't care what ship you're in. I don't care if you're in a battleship and you think you need a destroyer and you don't have a destroyer, so you're going to go sail 5 minutes away before you decide to get into the match. Poor strategy. Alright, enough of that rant. I can go on and on about it for about half an hour if you want, but you can come visit the stream tomorrow and egg me on about it if you want to get me going on that situation. But for capture the base mode, that's what we're primarily talking about here. First thing we need to point out, the far east side of the map. You can see those 2 big, vertically stacked islands. They're a little bit to the left of my, or the right of my position on the map. That little band on the far east, don't go there. That's no-go zone. If you send all 3 of your ships over there, what happens is they cannot see over those islands. They cannot shoot over those islands. They are not, technically, in my mind, at least in the game, for as long as they're over there. So from spawning, let's take it from the south side of the map. If you spawn on the southeast side and you try to go in that far east position, it's going to take 2 to 3, 4 minutes to get into that position. Then you're going to find nobody there. Then it's going to take maybe 3 minutes to sail through it all the way to the north end of it. Then another 2 or 3 minutes to get roughly where I am on the map. So what is that? That's about half the match just to get into your opening position. Meanwhile, your team has been down as many ships as been over there because you're not contributing to the match, and you probably lost the game by the time you get around that canal. So don't ever go to the east side on this. If you see all 3 enemy ships going east, ignore them. Either punch through the base and win the game, or find other ships to shoot and then turn around and kill them once they come out of their little off position, thing 6 minutes later. So for capture the base, stay out of the far east. It's a dead zone. Domination mode, there's a base over there. Go capture the base. You'll get hundreds of points. You'll win the game, and then move on with your lives. So essentially, once we've killed this Nelson, the Norse team has won this game. You can see we have free access to the base. Get on the base. We can send as many ships over there as they want. The enemy can then continue to sail north, chasing damage, and concede the game, or they can turn around and get slaughtered by us. You have an advantage defending. If you play it properly, you should win that fight. So, very easy to win this as long as these 2 spawns, the northeast spawn and the north central spawn, work in concert and kill these 3 ships. And they usually have no support because you can see the South Central spawn didn't go fully west, but they were trying their darndest to get over there. And then the people on our north central spawn began engaging them and distracting them from throwing the game away. So, this is a very easy game. We've already won it here. There's not really much reason for me to show anything else. All we have to do is get on the base and win, which is what we do. We get another 20k damage or whatever. I do want to talk about the northwest spawn, though. Their job, well, it's an interesting play because they start off 3v3, and it takes, like we said earlier, 3 or 4 minutes for them to get support. So I usually try and engage the southern 3 guys that spawn there and try and kill as many, if not all of them, as we can. And then another 3 show up right about that time. And you can either go kite away, defend your base at that point, slow them down, or you can just continue to fight them. You'll probably lose eventually because you're outnumbered, but by then, what you're hoping to do is have your teammates that spawned over here be semi-smart enough to do what we did here and just win the game outright. So, north spawn, when played properly, in my opinion, has immense advantage on this map. The reason they're not winning more games, apparently, is because nobody is pressing the advantage that's inherently built in. So, if you want to win a lot of games on this map, spawn the north, push through that side, and you should win it. So anyway, we'll trim that one up. It's not a huge scoring game, but I just want to put that in there. That's kind of prototypical. If I could design what the north did, that's basically what I would do. And it's pretty easy to win. Here we're on the south center spawn, though. This is kind of the key one. You can see we're kind of angled towards the left there. I don't know if just because everyone's generally pointing in the direction of the west, that's why they think they should go there. If they go there, they're conceding the advantage to the north, and they're relying on them to make even worse decisions than they are to help them bring the game back in balance. What the center spawn wants to do here is disrupt the advantage that the north has. In a destroyer, I'll usually play the lake area. I'm a little aggressive this game as far as how far forward I'm pushing. We do have 1 destroyer advantage. I think that's probably why. If I spawn in a cruiser or battleship, you can see the island immediately to my right, the one that's right next to me. I'll sail behind that to the east to go support those 3. You can get over there in a couple minutes, and you'll be supporting them. You can fire undetected, over the island that I'm right next to. So that's a good position to do. Here, I'm going over here to help spot, though. Why this is aggressive is because we know they have 6 ships over here. If I get outspotted by an enemy destroyer, these guys they're all in a good position to potentially shoot at me. So, a little bit of a risky play here. I'd probably dial it back just a little bit. But essentially what I'm trying to do is help spot these guys, help support them. We're going to get some torps down, muddy the waters up. We're trying to slow this push that if they're smart, they're going to try and execute. And by doing that, we disrupt their inherent advantage. We give our teammates time to, figure things out and then hopefully win the game. I think if you don't play the prototypical game on this map where the south spawn goes west for no reason, then you can actually have pretty interesting, even matched games on this. By going west, though, you're making it a lot harder for yourself. Not saying you can't win, and you will win because people on the north aren't pushing their advantage as properly as they should be because they don't recognize that they have an advantage, I guess. Now in this game, we'll notice the northwest spawn is in the process of abandoning that side. I don't think that's the right play. If you want to slowly move back towards your base while defending it, that's fine. Your goal over there on the west is to slow them down. On the northwest side, you want to slow them down. That's your team's weak side. This is the only strong side, weak side map that's left that I'm thinking of at the moment. Maybe there's one more. But Haven used to be like this, and people would abandon their weak side on Haven and then they would lose the game. You gotta slow down that team's advantage. That's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to slow down these guys' ability to move forward. We're doing a pretty good job of it. They're taking fire, so they're a little bit hesitant to push forward. We're getting torps in the water. We're getting torp strikes. This puts fear into them. The enemy team on the northwest needs to be doing something similar to our guys on the west. Instead, they abandon it. They're moving into positions now where they can potentially shoot me, which is fine. But what they're doing is allowing those 3 ships on our southwest spawn to assert control of the west. Now we're going to essentially control the western access to the central lake area is what I call it. We're going to control the southern access to it. So we're going to have greater control of the central lake area than they do. That's going to allow us to put cross shots across the map into these guys. They're not going to be able to defend themselves as well, and they're conceding advantages. So you kind of got to fight like like an ancient Greek Spartan warrior. Slow them down. Just kind of know you're probably going to die when you're defending the weak side, but that's okay. You're doing your job by slowing them down. So basically, the key takeaways from this are: this is a strong side, weak side map. It's not evenly spawned. The north has the advantage. The central circle, the lake, is the key. The wings are irrelevant. The eastern wing, nobody really spawns above and below that, so if you're lucky, nobody will go there on your team because it's a waste of time. If they do, they're conceding control of that side. The western flank, ships do spawn there, but it's still not very valuable territory. You want to kill the ships that are over there and then move back into position. You can see the guys that had spawned on the west on our side. Rather than continue pushing north towards their base and remaining out of the fight, they're moving back towards the lake. They're going to assert their control on that side of it. So I got lucky. The guys that spawned with me in the south center side played the central area rather than going all the way west. And the guys west got control of their side, and then they're going back towards the central lake area, controlling it from the west. So just randomly, I got good teammates that either know what they're doing or happen to get lucky and do the right thing, but it's working out. Benson's coming over here now, and you see this little thing that jutted out. I pulled forward to get around that because I knew he couldn't torp from that angle when he launched them, and we avoided those torps. Now I'm undetected. Now I turn around. If you're in a ship that's mobile to turn around and you drop spot, go ahead and flip around. That'll throw them off. They're expecting to come around. They might preemptively torp you. They might get AP loaded if you have a citadel and try and broadside you as you come around. It's usually setting yourself for a trap. Benson's engine's still disabled though. He's spending his time shooting some cruiser off in Timbuktu, and we're able to finish him off quite easily. And you could be saying to yourself, well, what's going on? You're down 2 ships to 1. You know, it's about to be tied, whatever. But it doesn't look like you got a huge advantage playing this way. No, but what we did was we disrupted the inherent advantage that the North had. And now we're giving ourselves a much better chance to win the game, in my opinion. So you got to kind of, from the south, you got to support your weak side, which is the one defending the base that spawns on the southeast side. If you can help them out, keep them alive, I think you got a much better chance of winning. I think you're probably going to win a lot more games. And if you spawn on the north and you understand that you have an advantage on that side and you press it, you should be winning more games that way. Colorado's coming through. We do torp the gap. We did throw some torps toward that Leon earlier as well that are en route. And we are using the smoke, that 6 charges worth of smoke on the lightning that cycled through very quickly. We're going to pop that, use the island for additional cover, make sure we're not getting spotted from any ships in the center position, and we're just going to start dealing some damage here. Do get the Leon with a couple torp tips to take him out. Colorado, we're trying to get him on fire. Ideally, I would have liked to get him on fire earlier. He uses the damage con, then we hit him with that torp, then he's got a flood that's stuck, that he's stuck with for, you know, a minute and a half or whatever it would be. So unfortunately, the fire and the flood kind of both happen at the same time. Looks like he's still unable to put it out though, so he must have burned that damage con earlier doing something. Now we're dropping smoke just to disengage. And as this Colorado dies, then what we want to do is look at the map and see what's going on. And here you'll see a bunch of strong Navy guys in blue exerting control over large swatches of the map. They're able to fire into the enemy from all different angles. They're able to defend themselves a lot better. They're able to spot the enemy from a lot of different angles. Meanwhile, the guys in red, they're all a bunch of nimbly bimblies hiding under the covers, sucking their thumbs, sobbing, calling for help on the comms. No help's available because they're all bunched up. There's nothing they can do, and they're in a much worse position. So we've changed a match where we started with an inherent advantage, and now we're actually up ships, and we're up in score, and we're in a good position to win. So at this point, we have nothing stopping us between... There's nothing between me and the base right now. So now I'm going to the base, and my goal on the base is to put pressure on the enemy team. I don't care about winning by capping. If we do happen to cap, that's fine. It's up to the enemy team. But once I get on that base, I'm going to start getting 2 points every 5 seconds, which is going to increase our score. And that way, if we do need to win on score, we're going to be in position to do so. My algo is low, so we're just going to go ahead and try and contribute to them. But if someone steals the kill, reported kill stealing, that player's been banned. I'm just kidding, doesn't matter. But you can see here, what I want to, the point I'm trying to make with capturing the base is I see a lot of people, once they get on the base, mentally they're saying, I gotta stay on this or I'm gonna die trying, that's the only way. Once in a while you're gonna be in a position in a game where that's the case, due to the circumstances. Usually you're outnumbered, usually the enemies all group towards the opposite end of the map and they're in position to capture your base, but you're close enough to theirs that you can get on first. In that case, it's kind of up to you to capture the base. But usually the mentality you want to have when you're getting on here is, I'm putting pressure on them. I'm now forcing them to either turn around and defend the base or let them decide to concede and just do what they're doing. A lot of players don't care about winning, or they don't know that you can lose the game by giving up the base. That's kind of a joke. Hopefully they know, but they don't care. And that's just the reality of it. But by getting on the base, again, we're increasing the score. We're putting the ball in the court. We're saying if you want to have a chance, you have to turn around and defend the base. Now they can no longer pressure our base, and the advantage, we are adding an extra advantage to our team. So I'm being a little aggressive here to shooting. It's because his turrets aren't looking at me. Yeah, I'm taking a couple secondaries, but at the current state of the game, secondaries are essentially worthless, so I'm not worried about that. Once I figure he might start putting his attention towards me, then I'm just going to pop this last smoke. It's a little dangerous. Once you're down to your last smoke in a destroyer, in particular this ship, you're removing your ability to disengage at any point in time. So it's a risky play, but because that's, their second to last ship and we took them out, not that big of a deal. But had he turned around aggressively, had he had a lot more health and he started pushing at me, I could go further and further away to the northwest, stay in the base as long as possible, but if he keeps pushing, just get off the base. I've gotten the points that I went there to get, and we did what we did, or we did what we're trying to do in this hypothetical. We got him to turn around, stop pressuring our other teammates, distracted them, so on and so forth. Now here the Iowa's coming around. We do one widespread right at the edge of that island. Then we do 2-2, or 1-1 and 1-1. 2 little bursts of 2 torps there. And we're trying to catch them right around that island. I'm using my experience as a battleship player and a player in general to understand that he's probably going to turn hard towards this base. At least that's what I'm trying to prevent him from doing. If he wants to come defend the base, that's the shortest route for him to take. That's most likely where he's going. That's why I'm torping exactly where I did. And that's a good example of an instance where those single launch torps are really valuable. When you want to use those is when you're almost certain that the enemy's going to be going exactly where you think they are. And then you stack those torps on top of each other. They all hit the same exact spot that you predicted they're going to be. And the ship goes from full health to 0 health. Iowa does make a good play though. He hits the brakes and turns hard. Misses that torp, so good play there. We are about to go undetected, so I kind of pre-aim on him. Wait for myself to disappear. Now I'm off his screen. If I shoot, got a free shot. We did hit him with the salvo there, and we got a fire. So seems, low damage, but we did get him to use his damage con. Or had he not had the damage con, he would have had a permanent fire there for as long as that damage con was reloading. So seemingly minor play there, but something to think about. Firing just as you're about to leave detection, but the key was there. I had to pre-aim, because once he disappeared, I wouldn't be able to aim anymore. And then we launched torps again right at the edge of the island. If he's pursuing us, he's going to take the shortest route. He's going to try and turn hard around the island, and those torps miss, but that's the idea. Here I'm getting reckless. This is what causes me to yell at my teammates by shooting this late in the game. I didn't plan on getting spotted there because he wasn't around the island, but the plane spotted me. Now I got to dodge. You know, I only got a few seconds left, but luckily I hit the gas and I dodged that thing. If not, he would have reset us, potentially won the game. You never know. So anyway, risky play there. Don't emulate that part. The rest of it was pretty good, I thought. So that's a look at Fault Line. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Hopefully it helped you out. If you did like the video, please hit the thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. There's a lot of World of Warships coming all the time. If you have questions, comments, leave them below. I did like to hear from you guys. And we'll see y'all later. All right, peace.